With a couple of years of hindsight, there's no wonder as to how Team Japan ended up cruising to a WBC championship, besting Team USA in the final game 3-2. On the pitching side, arguably the strength of this team, they were just so stacked. They had multiple top-end talents in Yu Darvish, Shota Minaga, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, and of course Shohei Ohtani. This isn't even including some top NPB guys in their own right, like Nippon Ham Fighters ace Hiromi Ito, or one of the better pitchers in the 2020s in Giants starter Shosei Togo. And while the lineup wasn't quite as potent, there were still some productive MLB talents amongst the starting lineup, like outfielders Lars Nootbaar, Seiya Suzuki, and Masataka Yoshida, as well as Ohtani manning the DH position as a bona fide two-way star. And yet, despite the established MLB and NPB talents throughout the lineup, arguably, the hitter that you did not want to face the most during the tournament was a young 23-year-old infielder by the name of Munetaka Murakami, who is going to be one of the top free agents during the 2025-2026 offseason as a slugging corner infielder. This video will give you the background, skill set, and projections for the NPB legend, so fans can hopefully know what to expect from the 25-year-old star on his journey to the MLB. But before we get on to this video, could you guys please hit the like and subscribe button? Currently, only 3% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if y'all do, not only will help me grow my channel, but also would encourage me to create more videos like this one for you guys. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. Munetaka Murakami was on a path to stardom almost right out of the gate. In high school, Murakami hit 56 home runs across 3 seasons as a catcher, en route to being drafted in the first round of the 2017 NPB draft by the Tokyo Yakult Swallows, who won the lottery over the Giants and Golden Eagles, who also put in bids for the talented 18-year-old. In his first season in the NPB equivalent of the minor leagues, Murakami switched to third base and performed well, earning his first career NPB start at just age 18, where he hit a home run in his first career at-bat. In his first full season in 2019, after earning the equivalent of Minor League Player of the Year the season prior, Murakami would earn the equivalent of Rookie of the Year through a breakout season that saw him hit 36 home runs in 143 games, all at just 19 years old, tying the all-time record for home runs in a player's first full season. However, at the same time, he would also set an all-time record for strikeouts in a single season with 184, so there was definitely some areas to polish surrounding his offensive game. Next up in 2020, Murakami was able to effectively cut down on strikeouts while still hitting for power, launching 28 home runs and seeing the average and on-base numbers rise over 70 points. And now 20 years old and considered one of the best players in the entire country, Murakami would begin his run of dominance, winning back-to-back MVP awards in 2021 and 2022, hitting 39 home runs in 2021 and setting the all-time home run record with 56 home runs in 2022. All while getting on base at a rate well above average and seeing his strikeouts dip to manageable levels. And after that run, Murakami parlayed his success into a 3-year deal that allowed him to be posted to the MLB after that contract was up. However, ever since signing that deal, while still good, Murakami's numbers have taken a dip since then. He's still got tremendous power, and he's walking at a clip well above the league average, but these strikeouts have once again emerged, rising up over 8% from his MVP seasons in 2021 and 2022, and that has caused a dip in his rate stats. In 2025, he suffered an oblique injury and subsequent setback that limited him to only 69 games. However, when he was healthy, he seemingly had returned to his MVP form, hitting 29 home runs in about half a season with an OPS over 1,000, albeit still with a strikeout rate higher than 26%. Looking at his career in a nutshell, it is certainly one of the most unique careers I've covered. He has one of the most historic rises I've ever seen, and it's definitely interesting that his dip in production follows after securing a path to the MLB. And so, the million-dollar question ultimately becomes, what type of player are you getting when you're signing Murakami? The player capable of hosting a 50 home run, 1,000 OPS season, or the one with a huge strikeout problem and an OPS struggling to stay above 800? Defensively, his positional versatility helps in that he can play either first base or third base, as well as some corner outfield in a pinch, but his defense isn't anything noteworthy, and I think it's safe to say that the vast majority of his value to an MLB team would have to come through his bat. Starting with the positives offensively, he obviously has elite level power. He's got elite level bat speed and should be among the league leaders in home runs every season he plays in and remains healthy. Additionally, he's much more of a complete hitter than some people may say. He's got uncanny plate discipline for a player of his profile, and while at times this can be a negative as he watches too many pitches go by, I think that teams will be pleasantly surprised by the quality of at-bats he puts in, and the above-average walk rate he'll have at the MLB level. However, outside of where he will play defensively, the concern surrounding his strikeout rate will be the forefront of conversations surrounding his profile. The main concern is that, going from a league with a lower strikeout rate like the NPB to a higher strikeout rate like the MLB, you are expected to see an increase in strikeouts. For example, Masataka Yoshida's strikeout rate jumped from 8% in his final season in NPB to 14% in his first full MLB season, and Seiya Suzuki's jumped from 16% to 24.6%. For players who excel at not striking out in the NPB like Suzuki or Yoshida, this is a manageable increase. But for a player like Murakami, who already has a high strikeout rate in the NPB to begin with, it could rise to untenable levels upon transitioning to Major League Baseball. If Murakami sees a rise similar to Yoshida's or Suzuki's, then he could be striking out a third of the time in Major League Baseball, which would be very hard to overcome. This is the main issue that Murakami's detractors will point to if they're saying that he will not have success at the Major League level. However, while the two most recent examples, I don't think that Suzuki or Yoshida's cases fully paint how Murakami's transition will look like. And that is because both Yoshida and Suzuki both had really low strikeout rates to begin with in the NPB, meaning that their larger jumps could more reflect moving closer towards the MLB average, rather than a large deficit between Japanese and American pitching. Instead, I think that a case like Ohtani's is much closer to Murakami as a hitter. Ohtani's NPB career was much like Murakami's in that strikeouts were already a huge part of his game, and actually, Ohtani struck out more in his final season in the NPB than Murakami did this year. And yet, despite having similar contact concerns, Ohtani actually saw very little change in terms of his strikeout rate going to the MLB level, going up from 27.27% in 2017 to 27.87% with the Angels in 2018. And while some may say Ohtani is just an outlier, another power-oriented lefty in Yoshi Tsutsugo only saw a 2% increase in his strikeout rate transitioning to the MLB, rather than the 6 to 10% showcased by more contact-oriented bats like Suzuki or Yoshida. Murakami, a power-hitting lefty in his own right, is much more likely in my opinion to only see a small increase in his strikeout rate if anything. So while a mid to high 20% strikeout rate isn't amazing, it won't be in the mid-30s and kill his career like his detractors may say. And even then, many players still thrive with high strikeout rates, Ohtani among them, and many of the best power hitters in the game also are some of the league leaders in strikeouts. Enter Schwarber, Matt Olson, James Wood, and Rafael Devers. Therefore, unless the strikeout rate is truly untenable, in which I showcase why it most likely will not be, I think that Murakami will eventually establish himself as a star in the MLB for whatever team he ends up signing with, as the Japanese home run king quickly displays the power on the American stage. And so now that we've covered his profile, as well as what teams can expect from the elite lefty power bat, the last few questions are, which teams would be the best fit, and what type of contract can you expect for the Japanese infielder? Rumors are that Murakami wants a contract around $200 million, but considering the market surrounding first baseman, I think that would be pretty hard to get, even though he's an elite potential bat who's only 25 years old. For me, anything from the $17 to $23 million AAV range for 5 to 8 years would be okay in my books, meaning that the largest contract I'd be comfortable with would be an 8-year, $184 million deal, and that is with a club option for the last year or two. However, I do always get surprised by the level of inflation in these contracts year over year, and if multiple large market teams get in a bidding war for his services, $200 million could definitely be achieved. Meanwhile, as for teams that I expect to be in a hunt for Murakami, as well as teams that I see being a good fit for him, I really like the Philadelphia Phillies both in terms of their long-term needs, as well as for Murakami's development. With Kyle Schwarber said to hit free agency and the Phillies looking to get younger, Murakami could be a good DH bat in his first season as he becomes more acclimated to Major League pitching, and along the way move towards the infield or corner outfield sometime defensively. It may take a little bit, but Murakami could seamlessly fill in the role that Schwarber had for this ball club, while a little under a decade younger. And as for other teams, both the Mets and Yankees could use a first baseman / power hitting lefty bat to add to their lineup, and Murakami could be a good fit. Additionally, the Dodgers, Mariners, and Padres have all been linked to Murakami in some way. And while I don't see the Dodgers as having any room for their crowded lineup for Murakami, Seattle and San Diego could both really benefit from the lefty phenom. And really, every team should at least consider adding Murakami to their lineup, not just teams who have already expressed interest or teams who have a positional need. Murakami is capable of being that bat that teams do not want to face late in games. It's just a matter of which teams have the immediate lineup protection and financial flexibility to fully unlock the apex of Murakami's talents, in which, while still having his flaws, can be one of the best hitters that we've ever seen come out of Japan. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below new video ideas. If you would like to see me make more of these videos on free agents, let me know in the comments down below. There are a couple more international players like Tatsuya Mai or Kazuma Okamoto that I could also make videos on. Just let me know in the comments down below. And if you would like me to make any other type of videos for the offseason, also let me know. I'm always open to new ideas. And while the videos may not come as frequently as they would over the summer, I can still make videos occasionally. And without further ado, I will see you guys all in the next one. God bless.